Okay, this is going to be a blast from the past. This is going to be a good one. It is June 1st, 2024. And man, oh man, I mean, we've got the garage door open, so it should be nice. We can hear the birds going. It's not a bad one. Okay, so it's been a while since we've been on. I think our last one was with Theo Benedict, the Canadian guy. So we had a guest last time. This time it's not a guest. This time it's me going over some things that, all mine are, when I talk by myself, they're usually the ones that going through some things, seeing some things, just, how life changes and circles around. So I do some notes down and we'll probably go 15, 20 minutes of, I think the title of this podcast will go something like Go Through the Smoke. And I like the part of going through the smoke of working with a NASCAR driver back in the day, Michael Annette. He was a Pilot Travel Center's NASCAR sponsored race car driver, and going over to Mooresville, North Carolina, and training them some and being in the facilities. They talked about, and they had simulators of going through the smoke. And what that means, it's like the Days of Thunder movie with Tom Cruise and Robert Duvall. If you saw that, is like trusting it. Like, you got to go through the smoke to get to the other side. And I'm just finding that working with so many different people every day in my life, I've been so blessed, but people aren't willing to go through the smoke. And I don't understand why. And that's why my big word is why on everything. But if you go through the smoke, you'll get to the other side, and usually it's like going through the clouds, and you're, even if you're flying and you're going up and you're hitting turbulence and you're going up and you're going up and you're going, oh my gosh, we just got to get through these clouds because it's hard and rough, and people just don't want to do the hard. So the title of the podcast probably Go Through the Smoke, but most of the time it would probably be how successful people do it. So we did a series of 6-part series on mental toughness, and this is probably how successful people do it. So I came up with some notes, and when I do my mountain bikes and I listen to different things and come up with different philosophies of what I see, and my two guys here, thanks for coming, Griff DeLong and my man Ben, my Burt Reynolds lookalike, working with these guys, and Griff shooting this doc that we've been doing, and we talk about great and we talk about different, and I have a problem with great, and I have a problem with why people don't want to be great when Jesus made everybody great, but it's our job to pull it out. And I struggle with that with people, clients in my life, and everything of going, man, come on, be great. Look where I am. Look at the top of the mountain. The view up here is beautiful. Let me help you get up here. And we talked about that before we got on air with Ben and Griff about potential versus reality. And my eye is good for the business, and it's bad for the business, and it's good for personal, and it's bad for personal because I see potential in people. But the reality is that's not where the potential is. And the word potential means it could be in you if you did this step, that step, that step. So great is being different. And our society has a problem with being different and alone and not alone and conforming to what everybody else is doing. And, being with Griff the last 4 and 5 years, we've had so many talks about struggling with being different and going down different avenues, and being great is being lonely too. And you start peeling away from certain friends that you had before because you're starting to do something different. And then we go to, you guys know this, when you were in elementary school and you had crayons and a piece of paper, and your teacher would go, color between the lines, Bobby, color between the lines, Annie. And you find that they did studies that the people that didn't color between the lines were the most successful and great. And I know I sure as hell didn't color between the lines because I was really, really dumb. So it was one of those things where I was going to be different just because I always felt different. I got my notes, so I'll just go through my notes. Conformity to me is the ultimate form of cowardness. And we talk about conform and wanting to fit in and blend in. And I find those people are the most coward-like people because they're just blending in and just going along with what they're being fed or taught. And if anybody knows me, I always want to know the why, and I always question why do we have to do that, and why can't I say that? And so I'm a lot of things, but I don't think I'm a coward that way of conforming. I've always felt like a misfit anyway. I've always felt odd because I don't do the certain things. I don't travel around the world. I don't take 62 vacations. I really don't care about material, nice things. I just, quite frankly, just different. And I love what I'm doing. And I wish everybody could feel this. And that's my drawback and my biggest asset. And we talked about that a while ago on a codependency thing that we still didn't release because my man Ben over here had to give me a hug because I was going through a lot. And you get through those stations of maybe that person just doesn't want to be great. And you have to come up with that, and then you stiff arm them, and it's hard for me because that's I don't know. I mean, I think the people that like the Rick Rubins of the world, the producers, it's like if you don't have to substitute your happiness for all those different things that is even biblical about idols and material things, and just do your thing. It just makes more sense to me of not conforming. I just can't conform to that. It just and nothing wrong with that, but that's not where I would want to be, or a lot of the people that are in my circle. Conforming to what everybody else is doing. I don't know if anybody in this room is conforming to what everybody else is doing. I mean, I think we're pretty eccentric type dudes. I'm looking around at all of us, and we're all weirdos. Like this, if we did a team picture of our podcast right now, it's pretty freaking weird, man. It's out there. I got a Burt Reynolds look-alike, and I got whatever he's got on. I got Mel Gibson over here from Braveheart taking more shots from everybody the last 4 or 5 years of what the hell Griff DeLong's doing, and he's still smiling back at me. So I think he's getting to a point where it's what it is and doesn't care. The color between the lines. Let's see. Small-minded people will try to get you to shrink. And I really like that one about small-minded people to get you to shrink. So if you find yourself, and we all do and I do, is you're elevating and your vibrations are high, but you're with people that aren't at the same level you are trying to get higher, you'll find yourself lowering yourself so they feel better about themselves. That's kind of cool when you really think of that. And it's like, I better slow it down, or you just find yourself, even if you're drinking with somebody and you really don't drink much, and then that somebody's drinking more, you find yourself, okay, I'll drink more to not make that person or that group feel bad that I'm not. And we lower ourselves to that instead of raising ourselves above that or keeping our standard. We don't keep our standard like that. We lower it. So I like that one. Okay, criticize. You guys get this all the time. When you try, you're going to get criticized. When you fail, you're going to get criticized. And even when you win, you'll get criticized. And when you watch the criticized people, the critical people are usually the biggest bullies. And the biggest bullies are usually not doing the winning. Listen and be observant to that. Only there when they have the bully and the criticized people. When they are doing that, they feel like they have power because now they're criticizing, bullying. But that's the only time they have their power. Oh, I like this one. This is a good one that I went through, and I was just thinking about self-esteem. And I don't think we have enough self-esteem, and I was studying this. Instead of listening to yourself, and I was telling Griff this when we were eating at Sam and Andy's. Big shout out to Sam and Andy's. Get the Petrone special. It's delicious. We talk about listening to ourselves, but we don't talk to ourselves out loud enough. And everybody's always, I remember my girls would say, oh, you're talking to yourself. I'm like, you have to talk positive vibrations to yourself, but you have to hear yourself instead of, I'm going to listen to myself in my little voice. Don't make it a little voice. Make it a loud voice that everybody could hear. I watched one of my clients go to the garage door and go, come on, man, you could do this. I could do this. And he goes, oh, I'm talking to myself. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't apologize for it. The great ones always talk to themselves, but they don't listen to themselves. They talk to themselves. That's called self-esteem. And self-esteem comes from within you guys. It's not called friend esteem. It's not called mom and dad esteem. It's called self-esteem. And I think we lack a lot of that self-esteem and self-worth. And then that gets down a rabbit hole and then it goes preposterous. It's gone. Okay, outgrowing people is a positive. And you think it's hard, but it's, I mean, you go with cycles and you go with chapters of friends and chapters of these people, even clients. You know, some of us just outgrow each other. So outgrowing people is a positive. And if you're really not outgrowing people, I don't think you're actually growing. That's me. Let's see. Courage is making other people uncomfortable. I like this one. When you're with your family and friends and they're giving you a hard time about what you're doing, pardon my progress. Pardon my progress. And I like that. It's like you always have to like come in low key if you're doing this or that to that person instead of going, pardon my progress. So I think, you know, just a little bit of how successful people do it. Those are little tidbits. You know, and like you said, Jocko did this years ago. I remember watching Jocko Willink, a famous dude that's on there. And he said, everything you have, everything that goes on, just use the word at the end of each sentence, good. Have you seen that one where he does it? It's like, yeah, I just got in an accident, good. Just got in jail, good. I mean, and if you start thinking that, that's good. And I studied another therapist on one of my many bike rides of, you know, Podcast USA, but they talked about like some therapists will focus too much on the problem to make the problem such a problem in their head that they can't get out of the problem. So stop talking about the problem. And you probably just witnessed it and hear of a problem issue. And it's like, wow, that's a problem. And that they're going to fixate on that problem. And they get in their own way of their own growth because they're fixating on that problem. I see that all the time, personal and professional, all the time. And it's that same thing. It's like, don't worry about the problem. Just worry about what you have to do and just see what happens. And patterns. We talked about that. I love patterns. Show me your pattern. I'll show you your personality. That works all the time. I mean, every time in the same pattern. And you got to break the patterns. You got to break the patterns to be successful and define your success. But that's not defining success. That's saying how they do success. So that's just a little tidbits. And like I always told Griff this one too, is don't let your dirty shoes walk through my mind. I really like that one. And that's a, you know, proverb. It's amazing of, hey, I'm going to, you know, exit away from this. I even find myself a lot of like, hey, can we stop talking about this person or whatever? Just, it doesn't make me feel good when we're like, you know, they're not here to represent themselves and, you know, you're just clouding up your mind. So that's it. That's an easy one. Potential versus reality is probably another one we'll talk about sometime soon. And I think that's something that I struggle with so much. And but it's real. And I think if people start seeing that more of like, we even, you know, I deal with so many personalities and so many different things. They're like, yeah, but he can and she can. I'm like, yeah, but they're not. Where are they right now? What are they doing right now? That's the reality. And then you can work with the reality. You can't work with potential because it's hypothetical. It's, oh, that kid could be really, really good, but is he really, really good? You know, my Hall of Famer Todd Helton, that's not potential. That happened. He's really, really good. So you got to see the end result of something and I guess be real with it. So that's my Saturday conversation. I hope it helped a little for everybody, but you know, you got to go through the smoke. I mean, you got to get to it. You got to go through it to get to it, and that's most people aren't willing to do that, and that's back to vulnerability of like you got to go through the smoke. All right, guys, I'm out.